Hello and welcome to Tuesday Tea with Meg. I'm drinking luscious licorice tea in case any of you care, and I'm sure you don't because this is kind of a heavy topic for me. So let's just get into it. I'd like to introduce you to my sister Bridget. She will be joining us today. She's the one in the wedding dress and I'm the one in the pretty blue dress. We'll just put her back there. She can watch us. So I wanted to talk about her today because tomorrow is her birthday. So what else am I going to talk about on a tea day other than my beloved sister? One of my two favorite sisters, but the one who is no longer with us. So some things I wanted to share with you about her. For those of you that didn't know her, this is FYI. For those of you that did, you already know this stuff. She was kind and compassionate and loving. She always saw the good in others, which is something I've learned from. I think it's so important to look for good in other people, and that was something she was exceptional at. She didn't stop until she found that thing, and she was just a gracious person. For those of you that are familiar with the fruits of the Spirit, she had all of them. She was loving, kind, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. She had all of those. She was just a very likable person. She was an extrovert. She liked to do things, be with people. She was, I would say she was very loving and joyful and kind. And those are some of the things I remember the most about her and that I really appreciated about her. And she was really fun to be with. Like, we could be goofy in a way that you can't be goofy with just anybody. I mean, especially as a respectable adult, you kind of gotta pick and choose who you can be silly around. And she was someone who was just easy to have fun with. So after she graduated from college, she was an art teacher at an elementary school, and that was perfect for her because she was artsy and she loved kids and she loved people. So, I mean, being around people all the time and serving them and taking care of them, it was just perfect for her. And after she got married, we had 3 kids at the same time, so 6 cousins that were the same age. That was a huge blessing. It was just fun being pregnant with her and going through some of the same things with her and just sharing that life experience together, which is so amazing and unique. And then she was the fun aunt. I mean, my other sister's the fun aunt too. I'm not. Of the 3 of us, I'm not the fun aunt. But Bridget was good at doing those artsy things that I never wanted to do. I don't really like making messes and dealing with the chaos, and it didn't bother her. It didn't bother her. So she would do those fun things with them, and I just love that she was able to build that relationship with them, and they have those memories. So it was really sad and hard when we had to move away. As you know from my last talk, I did not want to move, but I did, and then when we found out she was sick, that just made it even harder. But we went back as much as we could and visited, and she was just so gracious in having us into her home. She had 1 bathroom, and I guess at one point there were 5 people in their family, 6 people in ours, so that's 11 people staying in a house with 1 bathroom. I mean, you have to be very gracious and kind to open your home to that many people a few times a year, and just roll with it. It was so fun. I mean, you'd think it got dicey at times, but we had frog potties. We made it work. And it was just wonderful to have all the cousins together. There were, 7 cousins at that point, and it was just a huge blessing. So when she got sick, also we did a deep dive into the things that we were putting into our bodies and things that could be more risky and things that could be more healing. So that's when I started to get into health on a level that I hadn't before. And that's what got me into all the crazy stuff like biofeedback and patches and that sort of thing. And, you know, just making sure we're eating less sugar and more vegetables and taking like a serious look at things and not being so lackadaisical about our diets and things we expose our bodies to. And then after she passed away, that was the most horrible thing I've lived through ever. And I just want to say there were so many supportive, wonderful people, like her friends, my friends, people that came alongside us, prayed with us, prayed for us. Even funny things that happened at the very end, like God graciously walked us through a horrible time, but there were little pieces of joy and happiness and funny things she would say and funny things that would happen. So hopefully this will go through because I guess I have a slow connection. So after she passed away, there were a few things that I did that helped me cope, and I wanted to share them with you because if you haven't lost someone close to you at this point, I mean, it's only a matter of time. So some things were the Bible, especially the Psalms. Some days I could open it up and it was just, I couldn't get anything out of it. It was like I don't know, it was like reading nonsense. I couldn't relate to it or understand it, or it just wasn't what I needed to be doing at that time. But a lot of times I felt like the Bible had the most important things to tell me because that's God's word to us and no one understands us like he does. So if you find the right verses, it can be really impactful and move us in a way that just pithy sayings just can't. They just can't. Although people who said pithy sayings, I appreciated the love they were giving me. And then listening to music, sometimes hymns because they're so rich and deep, but sometimes just regular music and sad music. I felt like that was really helpful for me to just process my grief and sadness. So if that's something you need to do, then do it. Just don't let yourself get too far into a dark place and stay there. That's a real problem, is just staying there. We all need to grieve and process, but we don't want to stay there. Sometimes people say things that are really unhelpful, and sometimes they say things that are cruel. And just, try to forgive them and remember they're human and on the same walk as us. We're all trying to get through this life, and hopefully we're trying to be kind to each other. But try not to take it personally. And if someone happens to tell you that you need to get over this person that you loved, who you were close to, that you lost, try not to kill them, first of all. And while it is important not to stay in the dark place, you never really get over people that you really loved. You learn to live without them, and that's good, because I don't want to get over my sister and then go to heaven and be like, oh, I guess it's cool that you're here, or whatever. So, yeah, just you learn to live without them. And then another resource that I really liked was griefshare. I happened to be married to a pastor who hosted a griefshare class at our church just for me. There were other people in the group, but it was really awesome of him to have that class. And the other people in the class were a blessing. You watch videos and you go through a workbook, and it's nice to just passively sit there and watch a video and hear how people talk about how they process their grief and things that they did that helped and ways they were feeling. And I felt like it was a really passive way of trying to process my grief, which was hard to do after keeping it together for months through her sickness and through her funeral, and then trying to just cry afterwards. It was really hard. So, yeah, everyone grieves differently. We all need different things to help get us through hard times, but it is really important not to ignore that pain that you're going through and to honor your feelings in that person by just dealing with that sadness in a healthy way. So those are some things I wanted to tell you about, and that's about all I have today. I don't know what I'll talk about next week, but that's next week's problem. And if you have any comments, suggestions about how things that help you get through grief or loss, I'd love to see them in the comments. And if you have anything nice you want to say about my sister, of course, I would love to read those. So thank you and have a great day, and I'll see you next week.